This is Astros pregame presented by Toyota. It's a Saturday matinee in downtown Houston. The Astros riding a mini three-game winning streak, hosting the Baltimore Orioles. And here's hoping that whoever runs the scoreboard inside Dyken Park had some nice recovery after last night's offensive barrage. We will dive into that and much more as we get you set for first pitch, game 2 of a three-game weekend set between the Orioles and the Astros. Here's what's on tap. We will look back at last night's offensive explosion. 14-11, the Astros win it, the highest scoring game of the season for the local 9. A lot of hits for the squad, a lot of hits for this guy. Mauricio Dubon extending his hitting streak. We will dive in to Doobie's impressive run. And from a bunch of hits to really no hits, Ronel Blanco back at it after his last outing, during which he threw 7 no-hit innings. Welcome inside Astros pregame presented by Toyota. I am Adam Winkler. He is 11-year MLB veteran Kevin Eschenfelder. Kevin, we've heard it a lot if you've been around the game of baseball. There's really no such thing as momentum, but this Astros team putting up 14 runs to open the series against Baltimore, a team that entered the weekend with the fewest wins in Major League Baseball. That's got to feel good for the guys in the clubhouse.
Absolutely, and now you start to see this team start to play some much better baseball after getting off of that 12-24 start. Now all of a sudden you're looking at putting together a very good month of June and try to get back into this thing and dig yourself out of the hole that this team has dug. But you talk about momentum, you start getting everybody to swing the bats in that lineup, which is what happened last night, and some really good things happened, which certainly it did.
Whole lot of crooked numbers put up on that Dyken Park scoreboard. It's our Taquerias Aranda's delivery of the game, taking us back to last night's 14-11 series opening victory. The Astros put up 14 runs on 14 hits, highlighted by a 9-run 6th inning. That's the biggest frame for the Stros in more than 2 years. Kevin, alone in that 6th inning, 5 doubles in the one frame for the Astros.
Yeah, and you just really never let this Orioles team get off the hook. I mean, you started getting pitchers having to throw high leverage pitches, and they never took their foot off the gas. Found a lot of green grass, but also a lot of hard hit baseballs in that game as well. Astros taking advantage of some mistakes, more on that coming up. But just the fact that they were able to do up and down the lineup, what they were able to do up and down the lineup, starting with that 3-hit game from Jose Altuve. Alex Bregman drove in a run. He was one of the many Astros last night with a 2-base hit. Jake Myers, the big blast, and Joey Loperfido, a 3-hit game, and a couple of runs batted in as well.
You like your chances when all 9 starters, Kevin, score a run in the game. I like the odds of coming away with a victory. Also, last night in the victory, 14 runs on 14 hits. Kevin, just one of those hits, a home run. Seemed like the Stros were just kind of passing the baton. That's got to be a good thing, not relying on the long ball to put up crooked numbers.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Now, the long ball certainly is, that's something that you need it in this day and age of Major League Baseball. And Jake Myers was able to provide that, now hoping that he can get hot. But yeah, you're right. Just the fact that they were able to find gaps in last night's game and doing it against a pitching staff that comes in here, had been pitching very, very well in the Baltimore Orioles and able to cool them off a little bit. And the Astros they've kind of had the Orioles number over the last couple of seasons and hoping to continue that through this 3-game series.
Astros certainly did their part offensively in that 9-run 6th inning. Orioles doing a little bit of help with that not shoddy defense, only 1 error committed in that 6th inning. But as we take a look at some of the Orioles' defensive efforts, leaves a little bit to be desired on the diamond.
Yeah, and this is Gunnar Henderson, and he's a young player and just found himself in a situation where I couldn't get Altuve at the plate by the time he figured out where he was going to go with it. And remember, it all kind of starts with the fact that you're able to put the Orioles in a situation where they have to bring the infield in a situation like this, and that's really where it started. Ball got on him very, very quickly. Alex able to hold up just for a moment. Henderson, obviously, once he realized he didn't have the play at the plate, knew he should have just immediately gone to third base. Instead, though, hindsight is 20/20. It's game's a lot easier to play in the press box than it is on the field, and the Astros were able to take advantage of an Oriole miscue.
Talk about take advantage of opportunities. The Astros 7 of 14 with runners in scoring position last night. When you bat 500 with runners in scoring position, that'll go a long way.
Yeah, it's not about quantity, it's about quality. When you come up with those hits, it's not how many you have, it's how many you have with runners in scoring position, and that was the case in last night's game. Timely hitting, you'll take that any day over really good hitting, because really good hitting is timely hitting, that's for sure. Both of these teams, really, though, you think about it, 25 runs on 32 hits between these two teams and a couple of costly errors that the Orioles committed. And the Astros were able to take advantage and come away with their third straight win.
On the heels of putting up 14 runs, we know the Astros offense is in good shape. Up next, we take a look at who's on the mound. It's Ronel Blanco back in the starting pitcher's role, why one of his team-leading stats is ideal for today's matchup. We'll dive into that and more as Astros pregame, presented by Toyota, rolls on. We're back on Astros pregame, presented by Toyota. Here is a look at this afternoon's pitching matchup, and it is a doozy. Combined record of 15-4 between Corbin Burnes and Ronel Blanco. Kevin Burnes comes in with an awesome reputation, some pretty awesome numbers.
Yeah, absolutely, winning 8 of his first 10 decisions so far this season. Orioles, both of these pitchers have something in common, and I think it's something that kind of flies under the radar. Their teams win when they're on the mound. Of course, something's going to change in this one today, but Corbin Burnes 8-2 with that 2.14 ERA, one of the best in Major League Baseball. In fact, the best in the American League. But this is a guy that's a Cy Young Award winner from a couple of seasons ago. Led the league in strikeouts. He's a big-time pitcher and a top-of-the-rotation guy, certainly. And Ronel Blanco, we didn't know that coming in. They certainly didn't know it when he was 22 years old, working at a car wash, and signed him in the Dominican Republic. But, man, he has been as good as anybody could have possibly imagined. In fact, I'm not sure anybody could have imagined Ronel Blanco would be as good as he's been this season.
Not at all. Corbin Burnes comes in with 10 straight quality starts, the longest streak in Major League Baseball. But Ronel Blanco brings in a 164 batting average against. Kevin, that leads the American League. We're taking a look at his last start. It was on Father's Day, and the big Dominican righty became a father for the second time earlier this season. All he does on Father's Day, 7 no-hit innings and matches a career high with 8 strikeouts.
Yeah, he set the bar high to start the season, coming up with a no-hitter in his first start, just his 22nd Major League start. But you think about last time out, 7 no-hittings. Pitch count got elevated a little bit early in that game, 94 pitches through 66 strikes. But the Astros 10-3. We talked about winning games whenever they're on the mound, giving your team an opportunity to have a victory. And when you think about it, the Astros have struggled this season, and for having 10 wins in his 13 starts, that's something to be said. And 10-3 in his starts, those 7 no-hit innings, though, once again, flirting with that no-hitter again last time out. And, man, that's how you can lead the league in batting average against, when you just don't give up any hits.
Astros fans have to like having Blanco on the mound in this matchup. He's hot. He obviously has that 164 batting average against. But, Kevin, he also leads the Astros in innings pitched. Last night, we saw Jake Bloss leave the game early due to injury, kind of a lengthy bullpen game. Going to be nice to have an innings eater today.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. You really think about from a standpoint of you need somebody to go out there and give you innings, give a little bit of a break to that bullpen, a bullpen that while you didn't have to use your high-end guys last night, Nick Hernandez gave up some runs and he's going to get sent back down to the minor leagues. But the fact is that you still are in a situation where you want to rest that. At any time, you have a starter that can go out and give you 7 innings. That's obviously huge for the bullpen. But the fact of the matter is, give him that opportunity here tonight. If he can keep his pitch count low, or at least be more efficient early in this game, that's going to help him to eat up some innings in this ballgame.
We teed up Corbin Burnes leading the American League in ERA. Here is that graphic. He's tied with Boston's Tanner Houck. But look at Ronel Blanco, 4th in the AL in earned run average, coming into today's game with a 2.3 ERA. He's allowed just 1 earned run in his last 2 starts.
Yeah, and you think about it, same thing can be said for Corbin Burnes. Last 4, his opponents are hitting 190. He's got a sub-2 ERA during those 4 starts. But yeah, these are guys that. The interesting thing about it, Tanner Houck, a guy that's kind of had a bit of a breakout year. Seth Lugo, a bit of a late bloomer. You can certainly say the same about Ronel Blanco and Tyler Anderson with the Angels. Sub 2.5 ERA. I'm not sure anybody expected that as far as that team is concerned. But these are all guys that give their teams opportunities to win, and all guys that can go in and give you innings and really help a bullpen like we just talked about.
You mentioned the Astros are 10-3 in Blanco starts this year. The Astros offense giving him more than 5 runs per game of support. That's how you get the 10 wins.
Right place at the right time. Location, location, location. Knowing when to be on the mound on those days. It's funny how it works like that, but certainly the Astros will take it.
No Orioles batter has ever faced Ronel Blanco. When we come back on Astros pregame presented by Toyota, we will see how the Orioles line up, looking for a little bit of beginner's luck in their first appearance against Ronel Blanco. We will set the lineup for the O's against the Astros after this timeout. We're back inside Astros pregame presented by Toyota. Look back at last night's game, a 14-11 Astros victory. The Orioles dropped the game, but man, you certainly can't blame the offense, Kevin. After falling behind 14-3, they battle back and make this one a bit of a squeaker.
Yeah, I was calling this game on radio last night, and the fact that Robert Ford and I were talking about, I've never felt a more precarious 10-run lead in my life. The fact that they put that big inning together, that 7-run 8th inning, and like I said earlier, Astros holding on for dear life. But yeah, big night last night. This is an Orioles team. This is a good young Orioles team, 24-12 on the road, and they come in here winners of 10 of their last 14.
We've heard it a lot. There's no such thing as an ugly win. There's no such thing as a good loss either. But my goodness, when you put up 18 hits and 14 runs, 4 home runs, you've been inside a clubhouse. What does that do for morale when you put up those numbers and then have an L?
Well, I still think baseball is the ultimate, the 162-game schedule is the ultimate equalizer, and I think everybody, no one gets too high, no one gets too low. I know that sounds cliche, but it's a fact. You know that if you get beat on a night in which you swing the bat really well, I still think, of course you want to win the game. That's the ultimate goal, but the fact of the matter is you feel good about the way your team's swinging the bats, and you know that things even out in baseball.
Here's how the Orioles will line it up today against Ronel Blanco and the Astros. This is a lineup that leads Major League Baseball in home runs coming into the day. Gunnar Henderson off the top, then it's Adley Rutschman. Ryan O'Hearn, the former Sam Houston Bearcat, hitting third. And it's Ryan Mountcastle, Anthony Santander, Jordan Westberg batting sixth, Cedric Mullins, seventh, playing center field. Colton Cowser, the Cy Ranch High School product, gets his first start of the weekend set at home, and it's Ramon Urias batting ninth. Kevin, you've talked about it a lot. I mean, this is a team that can put up crooked numbers at any time. We expect Ronel Blanco to have his A game, but sometimes even when the starter has its A game, sometimes the lineup like this and do it.
Yeah, excuse me, but I think what you really have to look at from this standpoint, also you're thinking about Jordan Westberg. He's a New Braunfels kid, so there's a lot of somewhat local appeal to this Orioles team as far as there can be a lot of ticket requests in this one. But to me, whenever you're playing a team that's so strong at the top of that lineup with Henderson and Rutschman, O'Hearn, Mountcastle, and Santander, you've got to take care of business against the bottom third of the order. You can't have those guys coming up later in the game with runners aboard. That's where you can really get hurt.
Setting the table for the guys at the top. Up next, we will see if the Astros do anything different with their lineup a day after putting up 14 runs on 14 hits. That and Kevin's keys to the game when Astros pregame, presented by Toyota, rolls on. We are counting you down to first pitch between the Astros and Orioles inside Daikin Park. Here's how the Astros will line it up one day after hanging 14 on one of the best teams in baseball. Top 5 remain the same as last night. Altuve, Bregman, Yordan Alvarez, Yainer Diaz, and then Jake Myers, who had a big 3-run home run in the 5th inning last night before the 9-run 6th inning rather. Then it's Mauricio Dubon at first base, Jeremy Pena back in the lineup, playing shortstop, batting 7th. Joey Loperfido, another start. He's hitting 8th in left field. Chas McCormick back in the lineup. He is playing right field. Kevin, Jeremy Pena back in the starting 9 one day after a rare day off for him. And Joey Loperfido getting recalled from Sugar Land. They said they wanted to get the kid some at-bats. Back-to-back starts, that'll do just that.
Yeah, absolutely, and start getting a little bit of a groove. That's the hard thing about coming up and down and back and forth between the minor leagues and the major leagues is getting those regular at-bats and getting that timing, but certainly a situation where you want to get that going. Jeremy Pena, a day off maybe to restart the batteries, just to recharge just a little bit. We know he's a young player, but the fact of the matter is he's grinding each and every day, and he looked like a guy that maybe needed a day off, maybe to recalibrate, not just physically, but mentally.
One for 12 on that road trip, get a couple days and back at it. Another guy in the lineup as he was last night, Mauricio Dubon, playing short a night ago. Today he's playing first base, and you don't take a guy out of the lineup who is riding a 14-game hitting streak. Kevin, last night, Doobie, 2 for 4, a double and an RBI. Just keeps the train moving.
Yeah, hitting 308 during that stretch and able to get around on this one and dump it in for a 2-base hit. Yeah, Mauricio Dubon is still the thing that's amazing to me. It's so hard to have that long hitting streak, but the fact is, I think it becomes even more difficult, and a tip of the cap to Mauricio Dubon, it's really in his DNA, is to be able to do it when you're worried about playing a different position each and every day, whether it's short, whether it's left, whether it's whatever the case may be. He plays all over the diamond defensively and does it at a Gold Glove level.
To that point, during the 14-game hitting streak, he's played all 3 outfield positions, third base, first base, and shortstop. What kind of depth and flexibility in terms of writing out a lineup does that give Joe Espada?
That's his value. I mean, that is the value of Mauricio Dubon, obviously swinging the bat very, very well here, but to be able to not just be able to play those positions, but to be able to play that and not take a step back at really any of those. When you think about it, he probably plays center field less than any other position. He'll tell you that's his most comfortable and probably what he feels is his best position is center field. That tells you something about defensively what Mauricio Dubon is.
He's a guy they like in the clubhouse and that Joe Espada likes in the lineup. Another guy that they like in the lineup and have for a while, Jose Altuve. Last night, he leads the way with 3 more hits, ho-hum, 2 doubles, 2 RBIs, scores 2 runs. Kevin, this brings Altuve's average back up above 300 for the first time since May 20th. That's a great sign for him.
Yeah, it really is. And when he's there, he's using all parts of the field, not just pulling the ball. You'll see when Jose's not swinging the bat well, maybe gets out a little bit too far out in front, and he does it just there, able to keep that ball fair. The great hands of Jose Altuve. He's just a different breed, and the greatest Astro of all time. That's what he'll go down as. Back up over 300 once again. Just, pardon the pun, fine wine. He just keeps getting better as age goes on.
You talk about great Astros. With his 2 RBIs last night, Altuve passes the great Cesar Cedeno for 6th all-time on the Astros career RBIs list. We are getting you closer to first pitch between the Astros and the Orioles inside Daikin Park. Here's what we're looking ahead to as the Astros get ready for the middle game of this 3-game set. Coming off a 2-touchdown effort. Yeah, we're going football on you here in the middle of June, late June. 14 runs scored by the Astros last night, a season high. They do it on 14 hits, just 1 home run. Catalyst in that, a 9-run 6th inning, their biggest inning in more than 2 years. On the bump for the Astros today, it's Ronel Blanco. His last 2 starts at San Francisco and then at home against the Tigers on Father's Day, 13 innings pitched, 3 hits, 0 hits last time out against the Tigers, 1 earned run in those last 2 starts, 16 strikeouts, so many of those on that nasty changeup. He has been the Astros ace and their innings eater. And then Alex Bregman. The month of June, he has had a hit in 16 of the 17 games he's played. In the month of June, .348 average, 2 home runs, 8 RBIs. We've heard it a lot. When Bregman gets going, kind of gets over that perennial slow start, it's kind of when the Astros get going. Kevin, what are your keys to the game today?
All right, let's take a look at those keys to the game. And yeah, this is never enough offense. And I think all you have to do is replay last night's game if you want to know what never enough offense means. Astros built that big lead. Bullpen gave it up. They gave up that 7-run 8th inning last night to the Baltimore Orioles. This is a Baltimore Orioles team. For whatever you want to say about them, the one thing you're going to look at is there is a lot of firepower, and they can score a ton of runs. You can't get enough offense if you are the Astros. And Ronel Blanco, he needs to attack in different ways. Really use the changeup and really had a great feel for it in that no-hit 7 innings against the Detroit Tigers. But of course, obviously, that's on tape now. You think Orioles going to be sitting maybe a little bit on that changeup. The fact is, his slider can be very, very good as well. He's going to have to mix things up, as Ronel Blanco is able to do each and every time so far that he's been on the mound this season.
Astros and Orioles, game 2 of a 3-game weekend set inside Daikin Park. Astros trying to extend that winning streak to 4, move to within 3 games of 500. Kevin, they have not been there since April 8th. Gonna now get you out to Daikin Park. It's gonna be TK, Blummer, and Julia on the call. Astros and Orioles, enjoy your Saturday matinee in downtown Houston.